Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for another VR experience video. And I'm purposely looking away from these big icons in the middle because they will trigger. We are looking at an experience called the Anne Frank House. It came out for free not terribly long ago, as I'm recording this on the Oculus Rift. Not sure if it's out on Steam as well, but it's a free experience, and the topic was really kind of interesting. I was kind of curious to see what they would do with it. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but I kind of played a little bit in, and then I decided, well, you know what, let's stop here, and I'll try to record the video. And so far, I do have some thoughts, both good and bad. But of course, if you are familiar with the story of Anne Frank, very famous story, basically, they'll give a little intro, so I'm not going to really repeat a lot of it, but I remember in, what was it, junior high? Maybe early high school? I remember we had to read for one of our literature classes. We had to read the diary of Anne Frank, and I really... back then, I really didn't get into it. I really didn't care too much. I mean, it was sort of interesting, but, it just wasn't really on my mind back then. But now I could see this being, like I said, I kind of want to go back and read it again because, just being older, knowing what I know now, and just, hearing that kind of perspective from the diaries. Horrible story, but, interesting nonetheless. So, we are actually going to be taking a kind of, I'm going to say very limited in a way, interactive tour of the house where she was hiding from the Germans. So this is the Anne Frank house. It is the VR experience. There on the left-hand side here, we have the main story mode. And I guess we have kind of like an exploratory mode, I think, is what that right one is. We have some language and subtitle options. I actually had to use my magnifier to read those, because, again, no head tracking. There is I forget what the one in, credits, I think, is in the lower left, and then exit is on the lower right, I think. So, let's just go into the journey. And there's no controller needed. In a way, unfortunately...
On the 12th of June, 1929,
right, I'll wait a minute.
Anne Frank is born in Frankfurt, Germany. She is the second child of Jewish parents, Otto and Edith Frank. Her older sister is called Margot. In 1933, when Anne is 3 years old, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party rise to power in Germany. The Nazis, building on existing anti-Jewish sentiments, blame the Jews for many of Germany's problems, and Hitler's government soon passes laws that turn Jews into second-class citizens. As a result, many German Jews decide to leave Germany and seek refuge elsewhere. The Frank family moves to Amsterdam, the Dutch capital, where Otto Frank establishes his own business. The family settles in, leading a normal life for a number of years.
Okay. And then...
But then, in May 1940, shortly after the start of the Second World War, Nazi Germany invades the Netherlands. It installs an oppressive regime and starts isolating the Jewish population.
Bunch of little...
In 1941, the situation worsens as the Nazis start to carry out raids, arresting Jewish men and transporting them to concentration camps in Nazi Germany. In July of 1942, when Margot receives a call-up notice to go and work in Nazi Germany, Otto and Edith Frank decide to take action. Having already prepared a hiding place in an empty part of Otto Frank's company building, they hurriedly move their family into the secret annex and go into hiding.
Yeah. So, okay, they're going into hiding.
Here, the Frank family is soon joined by 4 other Jewish people: Otto's co-worker Hermann von Pels, his wife August, and their son Peter, and one of Otto's friends, Fritz Pfeffer.
Okay, we got a small group of people there,
It is this group of 8 people that will live together in the small annex for more than 2 years, sharing the burden of living in hiding with the constant fear of being discovered. All this time, they are cared for by 6 helpers, trusted employees of Otto Frank, who supply them with food and other necessities.
Okay. So,
During this period, Anne, then a young teenager, keeps a diary, writing about her feelings and experiences in the annex, about the events taking place in their secret hiding place, its entrance hidden behind a revolving bookcase.
And there we go. We are now in the house experience. So there is your background. And the rest...
Countless friends and acquaintances are on their way to a horrible destination. Night after night, the green or gray military vehicles drive by, ring every bell to ask if Jews live there. If so, the whole family has to go along right away. If not, they move on. No one can escape their fate unless they go into hiding.
Okay, so there is your background. Like I said, they do a better job of describing it than I would. And, I didn't want to say everything twice. So, like I said, here we are, and we are going to go into their little secret hiding area here pretty soon. But, as cool as this is, as really interesting as this is, I can't help but feel sort of bummed out that it was clearly designed for mobile. I mean, it's great that that more people can use this. It's great, but being designed for mobile, you don't have full head tracking. You don't have your full 6 degrees of movement. And this especially, I think, would be a really interesting experience to be able to really, even if I teleported, like even if I had my Oculus Touch controllers and I had teleport movement, free teleport to anywhere on the ground, if I could move to any point in the room, and if I could, lean in to look at the artifacts or look at all the things in the rooms, if I could, pick things up and examine them, just to really get a, true, an even richer experience. Because right now, it's basically like a 360-degree video. So we got the stairs down there. That is really... that is a steep and narrow staircase there. And that's one thing that I noticed right away looking around in this thing. Like, it's a small area, and like everything really has this claustrophobic, like really kind of tiny feel to it. I mean, there's not a lot of room here for, well, they say 8 people, and then like their caretakers, kind of. You hear the pigeon out there. You hear them fairly often. So we are in this room here, and all we do is we look at little icons in the room that will trigger the next bit of dialogue and maybe move you forward or do an animation. Now, here is another area that I actually have a little bit of trouble because of my low vision. Some of the icons, especially when we get to a room later on, I'll point it out. It's kind of hard to see where to look because you have the little icon that might blend in, or I can't see a cursor. Like, there was one on the main screen. That was easy to see, but I can't see diddly here. So, and I don't know if it just appears. So let's just look at something here. Okay, that was pretty shiny. So that looks good. Okay. And now I can look at that. I stare at it, and now we
Our
move.
hiding place has now become a true hiding place. Mr. Kugler, you see, thought it would be better to place a cupboard in front of our door. But then, of course, a cupboard on hinges that can open like a door. Now, when we want to go downstairs, we have to duck first, then jump. After 3 days, we were all walking around with bumps on our foreheads, because everyone kept banging their heads against the low doorway. Peter then made the door frame as soft as possible by nailing to it a cloth full of wood shavings. We'll see if it helps.
All right. Okay. So, there you got your moving bookcase there. Yeah, it's just like I turn around and like the whole picture just kind of moves. It's a little trippy. That's one thing I don't like about 360-degree video is, like I said, you can turn your head, but if you do any sort of other motion, like the whole video just goes, just kind of warbles around a little bit. All right, so let's look at the door. Got our icon there.
Straight across from the door, a steep set of stairs. To the left, a little hallway and a room, which is to be the Frank family's living room and bedroom.
Alrighty, so again, there's not much here. Look at this. We came from back there. Let me turn around the other way here. We got a staircase even up higher there, but look at, like, it. To me, it just seems really narrow. Yeah, okay. So let's go. It wants us to go on our left door here. Okay.
Of course, we are never allowed to look out the window or go outside. During the day, we always have to walk quietly and speak softly. The people in the warehouse mustn't hear us.
Okay, so this room I had a little bit of trouble with. Now, it's going to be interesting if I can get it to work right away now that I know where it is. Like I said, I cannot move. This is just a, static place here. I can't move at all. There's a thing over by the window. Okay, wow. See, now that I knew where it was.
It weighs on me more heavily than I can say that we can never go out. And I am terribly afraid that we will be caught and executed. That, of course, is not a very pleasant prospect.
No. Right, so now we're seeing the room from the other, we're seeing it from the other side of the room here. We got a little couch here. We got a little tiny table, a little bed thing. Got a window that's, of course, blocked off. A little table here. And you kind of hear a lot of ambient noises and stuff too. Like you hear people, remember he was working in some kind of factory or something like that. So you hear people kind of banging away periodically. But we can look at this little icon.
We always look forward to those Saturdays, because that's when the books arrive. Normal people don't know how much books mean to someone who is locked up. Reading, studying, and the radio are our only distractions.
Oh, yes. I sort of understand because, it was absolutely nothing like this, but I mean, like, if, I read a lot of books when I wasn't applying for jobs after graduating college. I had no money, literally, no money to do anything. So there was a lot of reading going on. But, okay, we'll look over here. And, of course, there's no, you really didn't have TV, of course you didn't have internet, so, nothing like that back then. So, yeah, it was reading and a little bit of radio. Okay, let's see if we can trigger this next. There we go. See, I was gonna see if she says anything. The tricky part about, like I said, the tricky part about this, I've mentioned this in other VR videos, is that especially when you have to look at something, like I kind of wish I could move a cursor, or I kind of wish there was another way to trigger these events, because the way I look is always a little bit off kilter. It's a little bit off to the left. And so when I'm targeting something, especially if it's small and far away, I have to remember that I need to look a little bit further to the right. I got to remember to do that to effectively target, especially something in the distance. So let's go see what she has to say. Got the little circle there.
It's terrible being sick in here. Whenever I had to cough, I would crawl down deeper under the blankets and try to quieten my throat as gently as possible. But enough about being sick now. I'm feeling dandy again. I've grown half an inch, put on 2 pounds, pale and eager to learn.
Yeah, that's just really sad. I mean, knowing what ultimately happens. I mean, it sounds like she has a pretty good attitude. So we'll close out that. Okay, and now we can go in this room. This is about where I stopped.
Our little room, with its stern walls, was very bare until now, thanks to Father, who had brought my whole collection of picture postcards and movie stars here beforehand. I have been able to treat the walls with a pot of glue and a brush, and so turn the entire room into one big picture.
So yeah, I mean, it's another really small room. We got a little bed here. We got a little desk or table thing here. Got another, like I said, it's just a really, all these rooms are really narrow. But there's these little pictures and things all over. I mean, literally dozens of them. And again, that's what I find really kind of obnoxious, is like, I can kind of see them, but I can't see them really well with my vision, because again, it's the same thing if I was looking in real life. There's a regular distance. If I had full head tracking and some movement controls around here, I would like to get up close to the walls and explore all these little pictures and posters and things that she has all over each of these walls, I would love to be able to do that. So I think we trigger this book here. Aha, the
Writing
Fable
lets
Diary.
me get rid of it all. My sorrow disappears, my courage is revived. But, and that's the main question, will I ever be able to write something great? Will I ever be a journalist and a writer?
Well,
I do so hope I will, because writing lets me register everything, my thoughts, my ideals, and my fantasies.
well, you did become famous, but yeah, at what cost? So we got this little floating, kind of spinning book here. Let's get rid of that. Now again, it's hard for me to see that stupid cursor. Okay, so we got rid of it. Okay, now where do we look? Okay, so my guess is we gotta go. We probably gotta go over somewhere. Just kind of looking around here. I'm guessing we gotta go over to the window. See, yeah, I'm not too sure. I stopped playing a little bit before this, and so this is all new to me. And like I said, just kind of struggling to see what the heck it is I'm supposed to interact with, and I'm just overlooking something. And on the flat screen, I'm sure it looks just super close. That's the funny thing, is like it'll look perfectly good. What are you wanting me to look at? I'm just kind of looking at the things on the wall too to see if there's any one in particular that they want me to look at, or what is this one over here? Yeah. I wish I could move around. Let me lift up my headset for just a second. Okay, I think there's one right in the middle of the window. Again, it's light, it blends in. It's going to be a little tricky for me to... There we go. See, that was hard. I had to kind of guess. I had to slightly move my head and wait, slightly move my head and wait, slightly move my head and wait, to just really be able to like find, like, okay, I vaguely see it, but I can't see the little pointer thingy. So yeah, I mean, that's the bad thing about some of these VR interfaces. I really like this experience, but some of the mechanics, due to my vision, some of the mechanics actually kind of pull me out a little bit, you know? It's supposed to be immersive, but I'm kind of fighting some of the interface here. All right, what do we got?
As of yesterday, I have found something new. For instance, using a good pair of binoculars to spy on the lighted rooms of the people who live behind us. During the day, we are not allowed to open the curtains even an inch, but when it's so dark, there can be no harm in it.
Well, I don't know, theoretically, but you get some glare off of the lens or something, people see somebody looking out the window, that's maybe a little dangerous. So that, again, now I'm not looking directly into the sun, the window here, the light, so it's actually a bit easier to see that. Okay. Okay. We'll take a look at some of these pictures more close up.
My hopes are fixed on the time that will come after the war. I would love to go to Paris for a year and London for a year to learn the language and study art history.
Yeah, some cool goals there. So again, we've actually gotten 3 different points in the room. So actually what I can do now is I could, you know, turn around here and then you guys can see at a better angle. You guys can see more of the little pictures and thingies around here. Yeah. Alright, yeah, I think, I mean, it seems, you know, like an okay little place to hide, but yeah, I mean, God, you're in this little, you know, not being able to go outside, you really have to be quiet, you can't, you know, like, you just have to be super quiet, you have to be very careful if anyone hears you or sees you. Yeah, I would, granted, I'm a homebody, I'm perfectly happy being a hermit, but I think even I would go crazy if I couldn't step out of my cave every once in a while. Alright, let's close this. Okay, now, okay, you want me to look there? Oh, it's nice, okay. I gotta say, the audio work in this is actually really good. Like, I can tell... I can kind of tell, like, where everything is. Like, I can tell, obviously the planes are above me, but, like, you can kind of hear it almost, and, like, how it's panning around, not just from left to right, but sort of, like... Huh. Oh, wow. You hear that? Yeah, there's some shit going on around here. Wow. Just sitting here at night, like, listening to all this chaos going, oh, God, please don't knock on the door. You know, just, oh. just living on pins and needles for that long. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I feel bad for lying in a warm bed, while my dearest friends are out there somewhere, thrown or fallen to the ground. I even become afraid myself when I think about all those to whom I have always felt so close, and who are now in the hands of the cruelest brutes who ever existed.
Amen.
And that only because they are Jews.
Exactly. You know, and this coming out right now, it's like, you know, all the people, you know, all the discussion about people being, you know, certain groups getting targeted now. It just has this eerie, like, oh God, we really don't learn from history. We really are not learning to get along better. Like, we're still, you know, oh, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, or, you know, you're white, I'm black, or, you know, man, woman, gay, straight, whatever. Just, yeah, I don't know. All right, let's move over here. And I will say I'm so glad that this thing is narrated. I'm so glad it's not just reading.
Margot and
diary.
Mother are on pins and needles. Shh, Father. Quiet, Otto. Shh. It's 8:30. Come here now. You can't run the water anymore. Walk quietly. These are the various cries that go out to Father in the bathroom. At the stroke of 8:30, he must be in the room. Not a drop of water, no walking, everything quiet. When there's no one in the office downstairs, everything sounds so much louder in the storeroom.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's our tiny little bathroom. We got a little window here. We got a sink that seems to be leaking or something going on there. We got a let's see what else we got. Our doors. All right. Oh man, I want to turn. I want to like peek around that corner and I can't. That's obnoxious. Yeah, wow, that is a huh. All right. It's actually a fairly large, well, it's a okay sized bathroom, I suppose. But let's look at this little icon here. I guess we're moving. Okay. All right, we can look at the mirror in a moment, but let's take a look at the okay, there's the old-fashioned toilet. Wow, man. Just look at how things look different from then to now. I remember seeing those really old style ones, man. It's really cool. It almost looks like they probably took a 360-degree camera, and maybe that's why that in addition to being developed for mobile, that might be why they did it this way, because if you do it from a fixed point, you can literally do a 360-degree camera image that someone could look around, and you don't have to, like, you're actually using the real location. It really would not surprise me if this is actually actual footage of this place. It would not surprise me. Because yeah, like you go from these point to point and you're just setting up these different cameras so that people can actually see. Because if you did this fully rendered where you could move anywhere, you couldn't just do scenes. You would actually have to really fully 3D model everything, I think. Because you would have to be able to, yeah. Anyway, okay, enough geekiness aside. Let's continue with the story here. Okay, we're going to look here.
I have changed, and very thoroughly too. Totally and in every way. My opinions, outlook, judgment, appearance, inner life, everything has changed, and I am pleased to say, because it's true, for the better.
Okay, where are we going? Ah, okay, we got another door. Okay. One last look around here. And, okay, let's go into the next... Oops. There we go. Ah, okay,
If
we're
one
back in the
climbs the
hallway.
stairs and opens the door at the top, one is amazed to find such a large, light and spacious room in such an old canal house. The kitchen, in other words, and also the bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Van Pels, the common living room, dining room and study.
I'm guessing this is directly taken out of the diaries, too. Okay, so let's look way up there. See, I like when there's contrast.
That difference,
oh, wow.
that huge difference is always there. One day we're laughing about the ridiculous side of being in hiding, but the next day, and for many days after that, we are afraid. You can see the fear, tension and despair on our faces.
Yeah, this seems a little roomier. I mean, just even having it doesn't seem quite so claustrophobic. I mean, granted, it's basically you've got an efficiency apartment here. You've got a table in the middle. You've got, some places to sit or lie down. You've got a couple of tables here and there, a couple small lights. You got your kitchen-y thing over there. Yeah. I mean, it's still small. Like I said, this is still like an efficiency apartment, but at least it kind of feels a little more, or a little less claustrophobic. Okay, so it looks like we can go over by the window. Is that where you want me to go? Come on. Oh, I don't like this. Having to look at... I think that's what you want me to do. So like I said, I have to target it. I can't see the stupid... Aha. Okay, so we're getting a new view. We're on the other side of the table now. And we got 4 chairs. We got 2 on either side there. And, oh, okay, actually a couple more there. And, little overhead light, and couple of windows, and it looks like we got a radio.
BBC Home Service.
This is The Day, the English radio set at 12 o'clock. And rightly so, this is The Day. The invasion has begun. The Annex in an uproar. Could it really be that the long-awaited liberation is on its way? The liberation about which we've talked so much, but that is still too lovely, too fabulous to ever come true. Could this year, this 1944, grant us victory? We don't know yet either, but the hope that springs eternal makes us brave, gives us renewed strength.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
I
want to say, well, let's listen to this for a second.
This army group includes British, Canadian, and United States forces. The Allied Commander-in-Chief, General Eisenhower, has issued an order of the day addressed to each individual of the Allied Expeditionary Force. In it, he says, "Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking."
Okay, and then...
This order was distributed to assault elements after their embarkation. It was read by the appropriate commanders to all other troops in the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Huh. Okay. And then it'll probably
His
loop.
Majesty the King will broadcast to his people
Yep,
at home
okay,
and overseas
cool.
at 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, spoiler alert, they actually get captured, but I think if I remember correctly, like, if they could have held on, if they could have stayed hidden like a month or two, something like that, they would have actually, they would have liberated, that area would have been liberated. So man, it just, they came so close. Okay, where? Oh dear. Okay, oh, the table? Here we go. I was gonna say, where am I supposed to look now? I think. Huh. Trying to get it to... Thought there's an icon down there. The worst part is, I can't... I'm actually looking directly opposite my monitor, so I actually cannot... See, again, this is a perfect example of where VR can give me problems. I can't just lift up my visor and look up because I'm not looking there. Trying to get it to move. Like something, anything. Like, okay, there we go. Good, now we get at least... I was a little worried there. I was like, oh, I don't want to end this. I would love to get all the way through the experience, because I have a feeling it's not terribly long. But yeah, at least now we get a close-up of this corner of the room. So let's see what she has to say now. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff over here. But it, you know, it's bigger, but it's still pretty small. All things considered.
During the 21 months we've been here, we have gone through quite a number of food periods. By food periods, I mean periods during which one gets nothing else to eat but a certain dish or certain vegetables. It is not nice at all to have to eat sauerkraut, for example, every day at lunch and at dinner again.
Yeah.
But when you're hungry, there are lots of things you put up with.
I guess, yeah. Oh, God, I cannot stand sauerkraut. Ugh. Ugh. Sauerkraut is nasty. That's vile stuff, man. No thank ye. All right, we're moving on to a different room.
When you knock on his door early in the evening and hear someone quietly call out, "Yes, yes," then you can be sure that when you open the door, you will find him peeking out at you from between 2 steps of the stairs to the loft, and that he will usually continue with a rather welcoming, "So." His little room is, well, what is it really? I think a sort of landing on the way to the loft. Very small, very dark and very humid. But he has made it into a real bedroom.
Okay. So we got, again, now we're back in our little small living quarters again. Let me take the old turn here, and, okay. Little door there. Got our little ladder up to the true loft, which I'm sure we're probably gonna... I have a feeling that's probably where it's gonna end. I just have a bad feeling. I wonder what they're, how this is actually going to end, or what they're gonna do. So yeah, it's cozy enough, I suppose, for what it needs to be. But wow. All right, let's hit our little... Okay, hit our thing here. You gonna talk to me? No? Okay, you want me to... What do you want me to click on? Ah. Okay. Come on. Ah.
Whenever I went upstairs to Peter's room by daylight, I always found the atmosphere very cheerful. I watched for an opportunity to remain in the room unnoticed and to get him talking, and yesterday that opportunity arose. Peter, by the way, has suddenly developed a mania for crossword puzzles and does nothing else these days. I helped him with it, and soon we were sitting across from each other at his table, he in the chair, me on the divan.
Okay. All right, we'll close this little thing here. Close, I say. All right. There we go. Okay, now what do you want me to click on? Don't go up yet. By the window. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Do you really think that father and mother would approve of me sitting on a divan with a boy, kissing? A boy of 17 and a half and a girl of almost 15? I don't really think so.
Probably not.
But I have to rely on myself in this case. It's so peaceful and safe to lie in his arms and to dream. It is so exciting to feel his cheek against mine. It's so lovely to know that someone is waiting for me.
Okay. Well, that's all she wrote for this room. No pun intended. Didn't actually think about it till I said it. But yeah, we got our room here. Again, really small area, but it works. It works. And now we go upstairs even more, or up the little ladder. Okay, we got.
I've reached the point where it doesn't matter much anymore whether I die or whether I live on.
Uh-oh.
The world will go on spinning without me, and I can't do anything to change events anyway. I let it come and do nothing but study, and hope that things will turn out well.
Okay. Sounds like horses. Shut up, pigeon. Jeez, those pigeons are everywhere in this place. Ugh. That is something you do not want to hear. Okay, yeah, there's your little hatch. Just kind of looking around in the attic up here. Shut up, Pidgey. Okay, we're gonna move over this way apparently. So the ones with little like sticks on them, that means we're gonna move there. The ones that just have the icons, she'll just say something apparently. So, I guess we're moving. Okay.
I go up to the loft almost every morning to let the stuffy indoor air blow out of my lungs. This morning, when I went to the loft again, Peter was there cleaning up. He was done quickly, and while I was sitting at my favorite spot on the floor, he came over too. The two of us looked at the beautiful blue of the sky, at the bare chestnut tree with little drops glistening on its branches, at the seagulls and other birds that seemed made of silver in the sunlight, and all of that moved and touched both of us, so that we could no longer speak.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna move down the room this way. I got a feeling some stuff is gonna happen here. Alright, let's move on. this way. Let's see. Again, it's so hard to look. I mean, I can see it, but I can't. It's hard to line it up because it's so far away from me. Like, I gotta look all way to the right, and it looks totally off with my blind spot. Okay, so we're over here. Bunch more stuff around. And it looks like we're gonna look at the window. Yeah, something really tells me, because we're getting kind of a tour of this place. And we're hearing a lot more... We're hearing a lot more German, or a lot more vehicular things going on, so something's picking up here. I have a funny feeling that...
That is the difficult thing these days. Ideals, dreams, lovely expectations barely rise up before being struck down by the most horrible of realities, and so destroyed completely. I see how the world is gradually being transformed into a wasteland. More and more loudly, I hear the incoming thunder that will kill us too. I feel the suffering of millions of people, and still, when I look at the sky, I think that all this will finally turn out for the good. That this hardness too will stop. That calm and peace will return to the world order. In the meantime, I must keep my ideals high and dry. In the days that are coming, I may actually be able to carry them out.
Uh-oh. Okay, we have music.
On the morning of the 4th of August, 1944, the hope Anne is holding on to is suddenly all lost. The hiding place is discovered, and police barge into the annex, arresting everyone.
Jeez.
The group is transferred to Auschwitz, and men and women are separated upon arrival. After 2 months, Anne and her sister Margot are transferred to Bergen-Belsen. The living circumstances in the camp are horrific. And in February 1945, Anne and Margot both die from illness and exhaustion, 2 months before the camp is liberated.
Oh, I was right. It wasn't long.
Of the entire group, only Otto Frank survives the camps. When he returns to the Netherlands, he finds the annex completely ransacked. Most of Anne's writings, however, had been safeguarded after the raid by one of the helpers, Miep Gies. When it becomes clear that Anne has died, they are handed over to Otto. Upon discovering Anne wanted to publish a book about her experiences, he decides to fulfill her wish. In 1952, Diary of a Young Girl is published in English. It will become one of the most read books in the world, translated into more than 70 languages.
There you go. All right, it looks like that is it. So, of course it didn't show any, like dramatic things happening. And it's good that they didn't in a piece like this, but man, like I wish, like I'm kind of jealous of kids these days, because like I said, I've taken a look at a few different, science, historical, different things in virtual reality so far, and they've been fascinating. It's kind of taking, the documentary and like teaching. It's interactive, but it's also like, you're there. It sounds cliche, it sounds gimmicky, but like, if you have somebody like narrating over, yeah, you can get, pictures, you can watch a video documentary, but there's kind of just something, there's this extra layer, extra level of, immersion. Like, she's narrating to you. We have a good narrator for her. And like, you're looking around at the environment as she's talking to it. I mean, it's like you're kind of there with her in a way. I don't know. It's just really interesting. But yeah, like I'm really, again, I like the gaming aspects of virtual reality, but I gotta say, I'm actually really intrigued to know where more of this educational and just non-gaming stuff in general is going to go. Because I remember at, what was it, Oculus? Was it at last year's or the year before, their Oculus keynote, where they had said at some point, I want to say it was last year, because I want to say at some point this year they were planning on launching some sort of like education hub or like some kind of education section in the Oculus store. Just like they were wanting to do the Oculus venues where you could look at music and sports and all kinds of entertainment events. But like, even if they do it for schools, like, I hope they don't restrict it to schools, because you know what? If it was good enough content, I would pay for it. I would pay for some documentaries, some interactive experiences, as long as they have a level of accessibility to them. I totally would. Yeah, I hope they don't restrict it to schools, because I like to learn, and this is a really neat way to do it. There was something else I was just going to say about that. Now I just went blank. I can't remember. What the heck was it? Documentaries. I cannot, for the life of me, remember. It was something about them being... Oh, I know what it was. In a way, like, I kind of feel like this virtual reality and, even some of the stuff that some people are putting up in podcasts and on YouTube, like, remember in, like, the 90s when you had channels on TV? Granted, we were in the middle of nowhere, and I never got them at the time because we had nothing for like satellite or anything, cable or anything like that. But the point is, they had channels like, the History Channel, Discovery Channel, National Geographic, the Animal Planet, and all those things. Like, remember when they had, when you learned by, like, you would watch a show and it would be a narrator, and he would guide, he or she would guide you through some kind of learning experience. Maybe you were following some animals, or maybe you were learning about the history of some, like something like Modern Marvels, or, maybe like some location or some event. And now, like, Discovery, History, the Learning Channel, it's all this reality TV bullshit that, okay, there's a couple things here and there that are entertaining, but no, like, I want to go to the Science Channel, I want to go to TLC, I want to go to the Discovery or National Geo. Like, if I, like, now that I have disposable income, and like, if I could afford that on a cable or like some kind of wireless or some kind of like internet package, I would watch, like, when I got back home from work and I didn't want to do much of anything, this is the kind of content that I would watch. But it's all this, like I said, this reality TV staged. What does this have to do with science? What does it have to do with history? What does it have to do with like anything as to what these channels are? But like, you know, you get things, like I said, there's some really neat, I've watched some really neat stuff on YouTube. I've listened to a couple of really interesting podcasts. And now, like I said, VR, I think, is their next, if they do it right, and if more people can catch on, you know, higher end, wireless, you know, full head tracking headsets, if they become available at a good price point and more people can afford them, like I said, and if Oculus and other developers get stuff like this out there, yeah, I mean, this is kind of some of the learning type of experiences that I would love to do. And so this has been a look at the Anne Frank House VR. Now, I'm hoping this is going to be the main menu. I hope I don't exit. If I do, I apologize for the abrupt. How do I go to the main menu? We may not be. I was going to go into that other mode just to see, but in case it's the bottom right one, I can't read it from here because it's the distance. I will do the video wrap up here in case I don't get to the main menu and I exit the app by mistake. Like I said, this is the Anne Frank House VR. It is available for free on the Oculus store. I forgot to look. I don't know if it's out on Steam as well. It was a really kind of a neat experience. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it. And I do wish that I could freely move around and, you know, lean in close and look at things, or, you know, pick things up and just kind of look at them. That would have been an even cooler thing. But again, I know, you know, they're developing it for mobile first. And then, like I said, on top of that, like, if you're using real footage, it's a lot easier to do a 360 video than it is to go ahead and render the whole damn thing. I totally understand that. But yeah, it was interesting. It was kind of a really unique experience. I was curious where they were going to go with an Anne Frank experience, and I think they did it very tastefully. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. Please like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel. You can hit the little bell thing if you want to know when I do new videos, because I do the Wednesday, Saturday things, but lately I've kind of been doing a few little bonus things here and there for events, or if I do a Mixer stream, I'll throw that up somewhere. Speaking of Mixer, you can also follow me on Mixer, mixer.com/BGFH. Twitter is at BGFH79. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys again later. Okay, now we're back at the main menu. So I didn't exit. Let's take a really quick gander. I just want to look at this thing and see what... Okay, so we're in the entryway again. I think this might just be like a free... Okay, yeah, this is just like a free exploratory... So we have two...
Our hiding place has now become a true hiding place. Mr. Kugler, you see, thought it would be better to place a couple...
So we cancel that. Okay, so this is just like a separate, like, you can go a little bit more, explore on your own pace. Still, you're set to these fixed points, but it's a nice way to review it. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed it. All the usual stuff. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.